Welcome to the Corporate to Coach podcast. I'm Pamela, a former corporate professional turned certified life and business coach and mentor. If you're ready to sign clients, grow your soul-led coaching business, and shed the employee identity so you can step fully into business ownership, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Corporate to Coach podcast. So I wanted to jump on today to give you a little bit of an update about what's happening in my world and where the podcast is going, and to give you a little bit of behind the scenes, because as you've noticed, I've actually completely changed the direction of my podcast. And as I've been doing this for a couple of weeks now, I've really come to a conclusion about what I want to do and what the regular cadence is going to be. And I wanted to give you that update for my regular listeners and the people who like to tune in. But I'm not just going to tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to give you a little bit of the thinking behind that so that you can see what you might want to do if you had your own podcast, and so that you can understand the way that I operate as a business owner and as a leader in my space. So, what I have done, as you'll notice over the last couple of episodes, is I've been bringing on guests onto the Corporate to Coach podcast. Now, I have been approached by coaches to come on my podcast since the day I started. I got approached from day one. And the reason why I created the podcast is because I wanted it to be a space where I could go deeper into some topics that I didn't think necessarily warranted a paywall. I didn't want them to be discussions that I only had with my clients. I wanted them to be discussions that I had with my audience for two reasons. One, I didn't want a paywall, as I just said. Like, not everything needs to be inside a course. There are the fundamentals, the core skill sets that need to be inside the course, and the fundamentals and the core skill sets that I believe requires your commitment, your attention, your investment, your time, your energy, your effort. And charging for that kind of helps guarantee that you give it your attention as needed so that you can learn effectively enough. Because as they say, the way that you treat a cheap 10 cents bag from the supermarket and throw it around, reuse it, get it dirty, put it on the floor, chuck your leaky groceries in there, get meat juice in there. You would never do that with a designer handbag. So what you invest in something obviously has different uses in terms of what you're investing in it for, but also the value of it changes too. So there is a reason why I don't just give everything away for free, and also because it's a reflection of my time and my investment and my zone of genius and my IP. I'm not going to give that away for free because I know my value. Equally, like I say, I don't think everything needs to be behind a paywall. And if it gives those who cannot afford to invest with me, or those who are not ready to make that kind of investment, either because of finances, time, energy, or just because they're not 100% committed to their business yet, then this gives them the tools to get there. So this is the other thing. It primes my audience to be ready to work with me, but also it means that when you come and work with me, you know exactly what you're getting. It's not going to be a surprise. You're not going to be surprised when I swear in a coaching session because you hear me swear on the podcast all the time. You're not going to be surprised when I talk about certain expectations, certain boundaries, certain philosophies, such as not making rash decisions, such as not overcomplicating your business, such as committing to one-to-one before you start scaling. When you know these things about me as your coach, because you've consumed the podcast, it primes you to be ready for my spaces so that when you do come in, you can hit the ground running. You've already got a baseline of trust, of understanding, of connection to the philosophies that I share, and you're able to just commit fully and focus on enjoying the activation that it gives you, implementing the new knowledge and the new business acumen that you learn and the new skill sets that you learn in my space. And also, you're more likely to be receptive to my coaching because you're already familiar with my energetics, with my philosophies, and the way that I think about business. It's priming you for success for when you come into my spaces. And equally, if you never work with me, that's not a problem. You've got so much value and so much benefit from just listening to the podcast. So those was the reasons why I started a solo podcast at the beginning. Like I say, I wanted it just to be that outlet. And I had creativity that I wanted to get out. I had expression that I wanted to get out. I wanted to have a space where I felt like I was in an intimate conversation with people who were choosing to opt in, even though I haven't asked you to opt in. You're opting in by giving me your time and energy by listening to a podcast. I don't take that lightly. I don't take your time lightly. And that is why I've always, from day one, put so much effort and made sure every single episode that I give you is so jam packed with value. Fast forward to 80 odd episodes, and the only guests that I would ever bring on were my existing clients. And this was for two reasons. A, because given the context of everything that I've just said, it didn't make sense for me to bring on guests that weren't also focused on building their business. And I wanted to bring on guests that could help corroborate the story of what it is to work with me, so that you're not just hearing it from me, you're hearing it from my clients, that you're hearing their stories, you're seeing the context of where they're coming from, their background, their journey with it, and you're seeing how they're applying the very same principles that I've taught you into their own business, and you've been able to see the success of that. So bringing them on, by its very nature, it becomes a testimonial, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong, I'm so grateful for that. But also, it gives you another perspective of the same piece, which widens your ability to understand, your ability to learn, your ability to connect, and therefore get more from the wisdom and the skill sets and the knowledge that I wanted to share with you. It also gave my clients space to have a platform, which I really, really wanted to give them. I speak so much about the power of visibility, the power of getting your name out there, the power of sharing your voice, of being in celebration, these core philosophies that I teach inside my programs and that I embody myself. I wanted to also give my clients a platform so that they could do those things, so that they could celebrate their success, so that they could be proud of what they've achieved, and so that they could also share about what it is to work with me and give you an example of what's possible. By the time I've got to 80 odd episodes, which is nearly 80 hours of free value that you have received, I've got to a stage where I, in truth, started feeling a little bit not as passionate about giving away so much for free as I used to. Maybe it's a reflection of where I am in business. My business is scaling. It continues to grow. It's now scaling. I'm moving into different strategies. I'm now more interested in only working with clients who are really all in. And go back to one of my, I think it's my first episode, if not my second, but I'm almost certain it's my first ever episode where I talk about what it is to be all in on your business. Even though I still believe in the value of an incredible podcast that gives you free value, when it comes to bringing people into my world, I'm really going to be restraining what it is that I give away for free, because I have just seen time and time again, especially in this new digital age where, sorry, this new AI age where knowledge is cheap. You can go to ChatGPT or Claude or any of the other ones and ask it for information on what to do, how to move, what to do next in your business, and how to do it. What is the value of a coach? And this is something that I think we all need to be asking ourselves in this AI age. What is the real value of a coach? What is the value of investing when so much of this knowledge is available for free? And what I've come to the conclusion of is that the value is in having somebody to partner with, and having somebody to partner with your brain and hold you to the higher standard, to help you think holistically about your business and to be able to help you see the blind spots. And as an avid user of AI myself, because I really, really love AI and I see so much value in AI, what I also notice is the absence of the power of human to human connection. And so you don't need more knowledge. Go back and listen to the episodes and, for goodness sake, implement. Go back to all the freebies that I offer you and actually take them to heart and go and do the do. But if you are anything like all of the coaches that I work with, it's not that this is the first time you're hearing information. It's the first time you're being held to account to implement the information that you know. And this radical responsibility that you need to take to actually take your business to the next level, that is what I'm interested in curating. That is who I'm interested in working with. And those are the coaches that I'm bringing into my world. So moving forward in the podcast, I will still absolutely be doing these solo episodes, but I'm going to be elevating the conversation. Yes, there's going to be so much value that I continue to give, because hearing these philosophies, hearing my thoughts, hearing the thinking behind the decisions I make, that is going to help you make powerful decisions in your own business. It's going to help you see perspectives that you maybe hadn't considered before. It's going to help you think about how you bring in clients into your space and how you train your audience to think about working with you, and how you train your audience to treat you. And this is about holding standards and raising the bar and calling in the people who are ready to implement and do the work. So the solo episodes are going to remain, but they are going to remain for every other episode, which means that I'm also going to be bringing in guests. Now, if you have listened to any of the guest episodes that I've done, I have started with people that I know really, really well. I have brought on my dearest friends in the coaching space, people that I have collaborated with, hired myself, worked with personally, who I know, who I trust, who I have seen their methods. And it's not so much that the way they think about business is a match, because they have many strategies that I personally don't implement. But it isn't about just finding people who think like me, but it is about finding people whose philosophies I respect and who I value and who I have learnt from. Because if I'm going to bring that person to my podcast, I'm effectively what is not being said out loud but is implied, and I recognize this as a massive responsibility that I take on, is by presenting someone to you as my cherished listener, I am kind of saying someone that this is somebody worth listening to. And I only want to bring on guests who I truly believe that that is the case, which is why I've only brought on people who I am very close to and who I have that intimacy with. Now, you also know I'm an introvert and I'm not the biggest networker. I really am about having a handful of very close and curated relationships with people that I intimately trust and I get to know on a deep level. It's why I still love one-to-one coaching. But those people are running out. And I'm now realizing that as I start to bring in guests of people who I don't know that well, I have to be honest with you, I am definitely feeling a little bit of, wouldn't say doubt, but I'm definitely feeling this. The thought is, I want to do right by my audience. I don't want to bring on anybody who is going to say something that I don't agree with. And not from the sense of I can't handle somebody with opposing thoughts or opposing strategies or opposing values. That isn't the case. If I'm going to bring somebody onto the podcast, it needs to be someone who, if you were then to go and work with them, I want it to be an experience that you go, I'm really glad Pamela introduced me to that person. And that isn't to take away your responsibility of doing your vetting and being certain that the people that you choose to listen to are the right people. But I do take the responsibility that if I'm inviting someone to my stage to share it with me, that I am kind of saying, I give the tick. And what I want to caveat is, as I move into this era of expanding my reach and connecting and networking with people that I don't know as intimately as I would like, I can't guarantee that every single person I bring on is going to be the coach that I would definitely recommend. Now, what I do want you to know is that in the process of becoming a guest, I have made my terms and conditions very clear. It is not a guarantee that just because I record an episode with a guest, will they make it onto the podcast. So just because I interview them, it doesn't mean that they're going to get the slot. And I want you to know that so that you can trust that I'm doing my due diligence. But I also want you to know that as I move into this new era of sharing the stage, sharing my stage with people that I don't know as well, I am nervous as hell. I am so nervous because I don't want to do you wrong and I don't want to bring people into your world that might lead you down the wrong path. And because integrity is so important to me, and I can control that when I know what's coming out of my mouth and I know what I'm creating and I hold myself to really, really high standards. But it is scary to let the reins go. But my gut tells me that this is the right move and that this is something that I want to move into. And that in truth, despite how heavy I just made all of that sound, I am excited to go into this new era and step into this new era of podcasting and connect with new individuals, hear different perspectives, bring on competitors, other business mentors, and give them the stage to share with you their take on visibility, on offer creation, on marketing, on selling, on delivery, and give them the space to shine and to showcase and to recognize that healthy competition is such a gift because if they set the bar high, it's only ever going to mean that I have to meet that bar and be an equal amongst them. And this is one of the things with the idea of competition that I spoke to about with Caitlin Pinnell, who is coming on the podcast next week. I cannot wait to share the episode with you. You are going to laugh when you listen to that episode. I swear I went into an American accent a couple of times because when I got super excited and her energy was so infectious, I ended up catching myself copying her accent. How freaking embarrassing. Cringe. But she just had that kind of energy. I just couldn't help bounce off her. But we spoke about healthy competition and how that raises the bar for everyone. And a competition in the healthiest sense, I cannot emphasize enough. And I can confidently say from the experience I've had bringing on the guests that I've had so far, all of whom I know very, very well up to the time of this recording, I know that it's only giving you good things. The feedback I've had from my listeners, and if you're thinking you've got thoughts about this episode and what I'm sharing with you, drop me a DM. I genuinely love to hear from you. I really do care about what your experience is of this podcast, how you're experiencing it as it evolves. But it has been divine to bring on such incredible business mentors and coaches and to give them the space and to help them shine and to give them the opportunity for visibility. And I am scared as I move into this era of now bringing in mentors that I don't know that well and trusting them to approach this space with integrity and to bring you value and to share with you their wisdom and their experiences. And I hope you've noticed that I'm asking difficult questions. I'm asking the tougher questions like, what do you do when it's not working? What are you doing when you experience failure? How is this showing up for you? I want this to be a podcast where you feel genuinely seen and where you feel genuinely heard. And as I take it into this new era of podcasting with guests, these are all the things that I'm holding very close to my heart and I'm holding with the highest intention possible. So that was a bit of behind the scenes about what's going on for me and the fears that I have, the thoughts that I have, the expectations that I have, the bar that I'm holding, the thinking behind it, that the evolution of the podcast. I know I covered a lot. I really didn't plan this episode. I didn't sit down and break down any topics. I wanted it just to be free flowing so that you could get this kind of behind the scenes. What I want you to take away from this is not just what I'm here to do for you on the Corporate to Coach podcast and as your business mentor. I also want you to be able to take these insights and consider them for your own visibility, your own collaborations, your own, maybe you have a podcast, maybe you want to start a podcast, maybe you'd like to be a guest on this podcast. Now you know the kind of the standard that I'm looking at and the level that I'm looking at and the level of integrity that I'm expecting of people when they come on here. If you have loved the guest episodes and you want to be a guest, if you're a client and you've not yet been on the podcast, I'm so open to your applications. And if anything, it means more to me knowing that you've heard this episode and that you're reaching out saying, I hear you, I respect that, and let's fucking go because we're kindred spirits and this is the vibe. So come and message me. And also, the people I've been bringing on, I've intentionally been bringing on either existing clients or past clients, but clients, or I've been seeking mentors and coaches who either have a different angle to bring, like a topic that they want to dive into that I don't specialize in. I've had fitness coaches. We've been speaking about fitness and performance, and I'm in discussions at the moment with a grief coach who I'm so excited to bring on because I believe we grieve a lot as business owners, grieving our corporate career, grieving our identity from the past, grieving the ease of having a regular salary coming in. I want to have that discussion. So I'm bringing on a grief coach to come and speak with you. So you don't just have to be super successful. You don't have to be at multi six figures like I am. You can be just in your expertise with something that you think is going to be valuable to share. I want to hear it. I'm here for the conversation. I'm here to put you on my stage and to give you the stage and to showcase you and give you the opportunity to own your magic, to get the visibility. And I'm also making it worthwhile for my guests. I'm taking the time to do the clips. I'm taking the time to curate the posts. I'm taking the time to send an email to my email list. And I'm also setting the expectation that they'll share it and that they will get their visibility going for themselves so that they can share the opportunity for them to take the stage with their own audiences. So you'll also get that expanded visibility if you decide to come on the podcast. I have to be honest, it has been easily another 3 to 4 hours of work for every single time I bring a guest onto the podcast. So it isn't a quick and easy thing to bring guests on and to do it well. Because what I also noticed when I decided to take the podcast down this route is that I have also been a guest on podcasts and the communication has been poor. I've not known when the episode has come out. I've not seen clips, and if they've been done, they've not been done very well. I've not had to fill in a disclaimer. They've not asked me for information about myself. They're just like, yeah, book it in, set a date, as if they're just glad to have the guest and they don't really care about the quality or about the integrity. I mean, as you know, I always come with high integrity. If anything, the way that I've helped approach being a guest on podcasts, I've had podcasters say to me, the questions you've asked have actually helped me fine tune my own process for bringing on guests. I guess I'm a strategist at heart and it's just the way that I roll. So I always do things to a really high standard, but know that if you decide to be a guest, I will prep you beforehand. I'll guide you. So don't be worried if this is your first time being a guest as well. I want this to be a valuable experience for you so that it is a valuable experience for my audience and you as a listener. So yeah, that was a lot. We covered a lot. I went off on a few different tangents, but overall, that was the update on what's happening at the moment with the Corporate to Coach podcast. I'm very excited to bring on my next guest with you next week. It's going to be so good. Caitlin Pinnell is a very, very special human. I'm so very excited to showcase her. I'm so excited to meet more of my listeners. Like I said, drop me a DM. Let me know what landed for you in this episode. Let me know if you're loving the guests. I really do want to hear from you. And if you have requests, if there are topics you want me to discuss, if there are challenges that you're facing in your business, message me and I can do an episode on it. And we'll keep the discussion going. We'll keep this podcast to be such a valuable podcast for you that you just keep listening, because I want you to win. I want you to succeed. It is why I created the Corporate to Coach podcast, even though it's evolving. At its heart, it's here to serve you. But if you want to be served at a more intimate level, then remember, message me, DM me. We can explore one-to-one together as well. Or you can check out my social media to find out what offers I've got, what I'm opening right now, and the ways that you can work with me. If one-to-one isn't an option, the lower cost ways that you can work with me right now as well. So we'll wrap it up there. Thank you for joining me on this solo episode of the Corporate to Coach podcast. I'll see you in a guest episode next week. And then after that, I'll be back with another solo episode. So enjoy the rest of your day and I'll speak to you soon.